Charges could be coming for this Alabama woman. You remember her. She admitted to faking her kidnapping. The saga of Carlee Russell started earlier this month when she called 911 about a toddler on the side of the road and then vanished, only to return home 2 days later. Now, her story seemed to start to unravel. And then 11 days later, police announced it was all a hoax. We do want to bring in now trial attorney Heather A. Widell. And I know you represented actor Jussie Smollett. He told police in 2019 that he was a victim of a violent hate crime and was later found guilty of making the whole thing up. Your former client still maintains his innocence even today. Is there any difference in the eyes of the law for someone admitting a hoax versus not admitting it?
Well, yes, first of all, there is. Mr. Smollett, as has an absolute right to do, does maintain his innocence. Everyone in this country has a right to maintain their innocence as long as they want to, even after a trial. Mr. Smollett does have several very well-researched and well-developed appeal issues, so we're still working on that. But in this case, the difference of actually admitting it beforehand can have several implications as far as charges might go. Or as far as convictions might go, if the DA does choose to pursue charges against her.
Yeah. Does it likely result in lighter charges if one admits up front that it was all a hoax?
It can, depending again on the decisions of the district attorney. In this case, specifically in Alabama, pretty much the same way as with the Rudy Farias case in Texas a few weeks ago that developed. The charges for filing a false police report are misdemeanors in Texas as well as in Alabama. In Illinois, it's different. It's a felony charge. So in Alabama, what Carlee would be facing for this is a Class A misdemeanor. She could potentially face up to a year in jail, not prison, but jail, and then up to, I think, only a $6,000 fine. So it's even if she would be convicted of the worst possible thing under the law in Alabama for this Class A misdemeanor, it's still not tremendously significant. So if they do decide to pursue charges for this misdemeanor, she might face more lenient prosecution.
And we know one person who's now speaking out is Carlee Russell's now ex-boyfriend. He put up an Instagram post saying that he's disgusted, that he feels blindsided. Can you tell us about the public scrutiny that Carlee is now probably experiencing and from friends and family as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's an eye-opening experience, I'm sure. Mr. Smollett was pretty much, persecuted and dragged through the court of public opinion for almost 2 full years before he got to see the inside of a trial court in Illinois and Chicago. So obviously we're well versed in the way people can just go through the media and pretty much make their piece and say what they want to say, anything they want to say about someone without knowing the details, without having any actual evidence placed before them. We have no idea right now what Carlee's motivations were for claiming that she was abducted or claiming that she saw this toddler on the side of the highway. It seems to me either some cry for help or some very severe attention-seeking behavior. But other than that, we don't really have much information. So I think it's a slippery slope and can be very dangerous for people to just say anything they want without having all the facts. But I think that's what she might be in for right now.
I have 2 more quick questions I'm hoping we have time for. First of all, if there are mental health issues at play, does that make a difference here?
It can, yes, absolutely. In a defense, if she is charged, prosecuted, and decides to proceed by way of trial rather than taking some sort of plea arrangement, that would be a defense that she might have to say that there were mental health issues, something was going on behind the scenes.
Okay, and there's also a report that, some $63,000 were donated by everyday people to Crime Stoppers to aid in the search for Carlee. That it will not be refunded. Is that surprising to you? Is that unusual?
Not necessarily. It'll depend as well on what the state sees as a diversion of resources, if they really needed them for something else. I also don't know the policies of the Crime Stoppers, if they have, fine print that says we can use this for something else, if it turns out not to be, what this was for Carlee claiming she was kidnapped. But it's not necessarily uncommon for them to then just use those resources for something else that, there are hundreds of thousands of people that go missing or reported missing every year. So hopefully they'll use it for something like that.
Okay. Heather Widell, appreciate your time and the context. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.